One of the biggest challenges we have today is how do we set ourselves apart from the competition? Let's face it, a lot of our competition is selling in a totally different way. They're selling deals, they're selling spec homes, they're selling discounts, they're selling, whatever kind of incentive to get people excited about buying their home. They're like the car dealership who says $10,000 off manufacturer's suggested retail price. Now, the question I have for you is that when you have customers that come in the door and bring these kind of things up, it sounds something like, what kind of deals do you guys have? Or what comes with this model? Or it might be, I want to know what the upgrades are in here. I mean, these are all signs of training that has gone on with this customer by competition. Now, I don't mean that they've got a book or a video course that they're having the buyer go through, but when they've shopped competition, if they've been shopping around, this is how they've been approached. It's been like, hello, Mr. Buyer, welcome to XYZ Homes. We have a great deal today. Here's my inventory sheet. You see these prices? You can knock $20,000 off any of these prices. Or if you want to build one, knock $10,000 off and I'll give you $10,000 in free options at the design center. And we have a really good mortgage company. I'll pay $5,000 in closing costs. This is the presentation that the customer is faced with when they come in. So why should it surprise us when they walk into our office that they go, oh, well, this is how it's done? Let me ask those questions because I want to know what the best deal is. Because who's ever given the biggest price discount or the best deal must have the best deal. Well, we know that's not the case. Now, the question I have for you is when we ask ourselves, when we're selling our home, and we're talking about the things that we do differently, that we believe in as a builder, and why we consider ourselves better than the competition in certain areas, doesn't this also apply to the entire presentation and the entire interaction that the customer should expect to see or to hear from us as a professional sales counselor? So part of what I'm going to suggest to you today is a way to move the process along, to get away from talking about cabinet sizes and granite and discounts and porches and lot premiums and all these specials that buyers want to get into, is to create a presentation that sets you apart as a professional sales counselor and to let the buyer know how you're going to be different and how you're going to help them make the biggest decision that they're going to make in their life. Because 98% of the customers you talk to, the most expensive thing they're ever going to buy in their life is a new home. So, with it being that big a decision, the buyer needs to be aware of that and allow us to help them. In order to help them, in order to move the process along, and to be able to talk about how we're different, why it's a benefit to them, and so forth, we have to get them past this mindset of, oh, if the discount isn't big enough, or if they don't have a big enough deal, or something sitting on the ground ready to go, well, then I don't want to look here. So let's talk about that for a second. The presentation that you come up with it has to be very personal. It has to be personal to you. And I'm going to suggest to you after this little video that you sit down and script this out and read it out loud. Sit in front of the mirror if you need to. Run it past you. If you have a partner, run it past your partner or wife or husband if they'll listen to you, whatever. But practice it and see if this won't help change the mindset a little bit and allow you to move past some of the things that hinder us or slow down the whole process. Here's an example. Buyer comes in and they talk about what kind of deals you have, or is this standard, or is this not standard, or whatever. You might ask the buyer, well, that's a very interesting question. You talk about discounts and so forth. I get that question a lot. And to be honest with you, I hate to hear it, because people get all caught up in the price and these discounts. And the fact of the matter is, wherever you buy a home, whether it's from me or somebody else that you know, another home builder, heck, if you buy a resale, you're going to get a heck of a deal in this market. But what I like to do is, rather than just talking about deals, because, you know, I can tell you 30,000 off or 10,000 off, or I've got this or that. I mean, it gets confusing. And, you know, it mixes things up to where it makes it hard on you. Because isn't the most important thing finding, number one, the right community, and number two, the right home for you and your family? Because in the big picture, it doesn't matter what the deal is, you're not going to move into something unless it's the right fit for you and your family, right? Right. So, what I like to do with my customers is sit down and talk a little bit about, what are you really looking for? What have you seen that you like? Why do you like it? And let's talk a little bit about, what works best for you? What have you seen? Or maybe you've seen pictures in a magazine or something that this is kind of along the idea of, or the look that I'd like. And then I'll be glad to tell you about some of the things that we do. We do a number of things that we consider very important. And why it's important, how it can make your life better, in some cases, how it can save you money. But more importantly, sit down and kind of narrow it down to the right home. Hopefully I have it. Hopefully I have the right home. And the great thing about us is that even if I've got something that close, a lot of times the great thing about our home here at Plantation Homes is that I can work with you on changes to customize it to get it exactly the way that you want. But rather than just worrying about deals and all that, it's all irrelevant. It's all play money in terms of the way they present this stuff. And so let's sit down and really talk about that. And then we find something that you really like that will work for you. Then we'll sit down and we'll start talking, get down to specifics. How's that sound? Now, that's a longer version. There's a million ways of doing this. You can say something as little as, oh gosh, oh, is that what they're doing today? 30,000? Oh, wow. Well, they've been more than that, you know, and oh, you hear it all over the place. Everybody's got a great deal. Oh, yeah, you know, 10,000 here, 20,000 there, 50,000 if you buy by 6 o'clock tonight. Oh, here's a free swimming pool. I mean, there's a gazillion things out there. I mean, it's like, you know, it's almost like going to a border town in Mexico and negotiating on a leather wallet. Now, the fact of the matter is, you're going to get a great deal wherever you buy a home. We have great incentives. The only difference with us is that we don't have any flat amount. It gets down to the individual home you want. We're a little different from some of these other builders. They're a little more of cookie cutter. Here they are. Here's a price and we're discounting it. Well, you can put whatever price you want on a price sheet and discount it, but that doesn't mean that that it's a great value. And more importantly, it gets down to this, when you start talking about these things, it's really got to be the right home for you and your family. That's what I'm here to help you with. Certainly I want to sell you a home. Certainly we do. And there's a lot of reasons we do sell a lot of homes. There's a lot of ours out here, some of our competitors and so forth. But ultimately, let me make a suggestion to you. Don't worry about all these deals and what they're telling you, because ultimately when you get down to it, you're going to get a great deal whenever you find the right home for you and your family. How's it sound? Now, once again, I've given you just a couple of ideas about how it's different, how you can kind of discount the discount, if you will. If I used to personally like to make fun of those kind of things, be a little sarcastic. Oh, everybody got a great deal. Wow, what is it today? You know, and I used to, sometimes I'd tell the joke about going out and looking for the Honda Accord and at the car dealership, and the dealer shows you a car out there and you look at the sticker and it says $95,000 and your eyes bug out. Oh, the salesman says, don't worry, I've got a great deal today. I'm going to knock $45,000 off of that. Well, the question I ask you, is that a great deal, Mr. Buyer? Of course not. We don't like to play that game. We're not talking about playing games with prices and all this other. Ultimately, it's got to be the right home for you and your family. Once we find that if we have something that works for you and a great plan and so forth, I'll work with you to make the deal work, not only financially, but also to be able to customize the home and get the things exactly the way you want them. How does that sound? Now, I've just given you a few examples of ways to handle this. But I'm going to tell you, if you'll come in and take this approach with these buyers that come in, this can be with real estate agents as well. When they're coming in, what's the bottom line, and how much are you guys offering and that kind of thing. These are things that will work. But we have to get it down to where we can, once again, like everything we always talk about, it's got to be confident, it's got to be from the heart, and it's got to be in a way that's conversational. Doesn't this make sense, Mr. Buyer? I can knock any price off that I have, but if you don't like the home, you're not going to move into it, right? Right. Don't be afraid to be a little challenging with the customer and to be a little bold. It's the same thing as I've referenced before in other training segments where we talk about if you go to your CPA and you say, well, why can't I do this? And your CPA looks at you, well, I hear what you're saying. Well, maybe we can do this. If he knows it's stupid or it's going to get you in trouble tax-wise, he's going to say, hey, look, you can't do that. No way. Look, this is what we've got to do because there's certain criteria that's important before we decide on a solution. It's exactly the same thing. Where I'm going with this as a final wrap-up is that we want to set ourselves apart. If this buyer comes in and they get this conversation with you going on, first of all, if they've talked to the competition who's talking all these deals, it makes them look more like, oh, the dreaded salesperson. It's just no different than there's a sale on at Sam's and let's get a discount. It demeans their approach. Even better, if they haven't been shopping much and you set them up, you're going to, by telling them they're going to experience this with other builders, where all they're going to do is talk about discounts and deals and this kind of thing. It also undermines your competitor's presentation in that after they've talked with you and you've been professional and really done what we want to do and discover what they want and help them, when they go to the competition and they're over there, all it is deals and discounts and that kind of thing, the red flag is going to go up. They're going to recognize what you warned them about. A lot of this business, a lot of the effectiveness is psychological warfare. I don't like to use the word warfare, but it's understanding what your competition is doing, what they're saying, what their spiel is, how they're talking to these people walking in the door, what your customers experiencing. When you know this, right, then we, beyond our EFL and our nice cabinets and customizing, work on that presentation that tells that customer about how you're different and why the decision they're making and what they're shopping for is the most important decision in their life, and why the incentive, while you have great ones, is very, very secondary to finding the right home. You can always say this to them: everybody wants a great deal, but isn't the most important thing to get the right deal on the right home for you? Think about it. Practice it. Write it down. Script it out. Let me know how it works for you. I'm going to tell you this can be very, very effective in today's market. Thank you.